one wise person opined that the greatest investment that any nation can make is an investment in the education. Basically, the investment that the nation will make into its future. Investing in education means that the nation is investing in opportunities and the future economic growth of that country. Since independence, our first president, President Jomo Kenyatta, was very categorical on the three things or three issues that he said that these are the three enemies of Kenya. One was disease, two was ignorance, and three was poverty. And in a bid to fight these three enemies, the presidents or successive presidents have been implementing different projects to try and fight these three enemies. The principle of fighting these three enemies has been education. An investment in education will make less people poor, will defeat ignorance, and will make sure that the nation transits from being a low-income economy to a middle-income to a high-income economy. That is the future that the country wants. At the end of the day, we need professionals to lead our parastatals. We need professionals to lead in terms of our politics. President Daniel Toroitich arap Moi had his own way of luring more people into education. You remember the Maziwa ya Nyayo? President Mwai Kibaki came up with free education that many thought wouldn't work. However, many people right now are a product of free primary education. President Uhuru Kenyatta came with a raft of measures that changed the education sector for the better. Right now we are in the fourth regime, and in 2022, when the now President William Ruto was campaigning, he said categorically that his aim is to make sure that there is more retention of students, of pupils in primary school who will advance to secondary school. And one of the strategies that President William Ruto put in place was to make sure that there is a school feeding program for public primary schools, which was a very good idea. This was a brilliant idea, because a school feeding program is not just any program. It is not just a program to dish out meals to students when they want to eat. It is a far much larger strategy to make sure that first, these students are having nutritional balance. Out there in the fields, students do have this opportunity to have meals, but not all Kenyans are as fortunate as everyone else in different parts of the country. We have, in economics, we call it a Gini coefficient that is high. The haves and the have-nots in Kenya have that stark difference. We have schools here in Nairobi. We also have schools at our border areas in regions that are, or we can call them marginalized regions. And these students need the same opportunities as these students who are in well-off areas in big towns in Kenya. Therefore, to levelize this situation, we need all students to stay in school. We need all students to be able to get education. Providing meals was a very good strategy by the Kenya Kwanza government to make sure that students have that nutritional balance for those who do not go the whole day without food, that the students have that concentration capability, that a student will not feel hungry and sway away from being taught in school. This was a very good strategy. However, as per the Finance Bill 2024, there is a motion by the Treasury to remove the funding for the school feeding program, which is unfortunate because this is a government that vied for this same proposal to make sure that students are retained in school through the school feeding program. I therefore call on our members, our elected members who are going to analyze this finance bill, that among the most important gifts that you can give to Kenya right now and the Kenya in the future is to fight for these children, is to fight for their rights to stay in school, is to fight for their rights to be recognized and to feel equal as other students across the country. And this you can do by fighting for the funding of the school feeding program. We not only want the school feeding program to be funded for this financial year, we want an increase in funding of the school feeding program for this year and subsequent years. This is because this was an excellent strategy to make sure that all students across the country are being factored when it comes to learning. Because if you want to fight poverty, then allow that student to go to school, allow that student to go to an education system that will make him or her to be a better person and to raise the status of the family. Therefore, I will leave this with how I started, that if you want to invest in the future of a nation, please invest in education. If we are not investing in education, if we are diverting these funds that were meant to go to education, to go elsewhere, then we are not investing in our future. We are divesting these resources at the expense of the future of the country, and that means that our future is bleak if these students do not get the school subsidized program on food. This is my take.